Good overnight, everybody. Meteorologist Mike Joyce here. I just wanted to pop in to let everyone know about a confirmed on the ground tornado ongoing across southern Clinton County right now in Ohio. So, this again is southern Clinton County. A tornado warning in effect for a confirmed on the ground tornado. This is just south of Wilmington and closer to Blanchester, Martinsville, and New Vienna along State Route 38. So let's track this situation right now. Again, we have a tornado warning for southern Clinton County for a tornado that has been confirmed. Let's go to our velocity right now, and we can see that within the last um, about 15 to 20 minutes, we really saw this tornado spin up right as the storm crossed from Warren County into Clinton County. And let's get a look at where that area of circulation is right now. This is going to be just to the east of Blanchester and just south of Midland. So, Midland and Martinsville, you absolutely need to be in your safe spot right now. We are looking at a strong circulation that is likely crossing US 68 and State Route 28. Again, this is in southern Clinton County, a tornado warning for a confirmed tornado. We can see this couplet here on radar, and if we look back a couple frames, we can really see where this blew up as it crossed the Warren and Clinton County line just about 10 minutes ago. We saw a very strong signature here on radar, and it's still exhibiting quite some intense rotation along US 68 near Midland. Um, so let's take a look at where exactly any debris might be. We are going to look at what we call our debris tracker essentially. And we can actually see right here where this green area, this little ball right here, this green area indicates potential debris being lofted. And the National Weather Service has went ahead and expanded now this tornado warning for pretty much all of southern Clinton County, and this does now include northern Highland County with this brand new update. So let's get that update for you here. Let's see. Just trying to get new data in. All right, so this tornado warning will run until 2:15 in the morning, so about 19 more minutes. And again, it's for this storm right here that likely produced a tornado or is currently producing a tornado right along State Route 28 and US 68 in southern Clinton County. So this is a serious situation. If you hear the sirens going off and you're in Clinton or northern Highland County, now is the time to be in your safe spot. All right, we are going to try to make sure that I have some of the latest data here. So let me read up on that, this new warning from the Weather Service. Oh, this will actually go for until 2:30. And it's still moving east at about 50 miles per hour. So the storms have picked up some steam since um, the storms have picked up some steam since earlier this evening, where we were seeing them moving at about 30 miles per hour. So they're moving more quickly now. Let me just make sure. Okay. Yeah, we did confirm that that lofted debris here. Thankfully, in this last scan, I have noticed that this area of rotation has weakened a little bit, but it's still certainly strong enough to um, warrant this tornado warning at this time. But it could um, regenerate any second. This has really just been the situation we've been in this evening, where the tornado chance is very low, but the parameters are there, and we are seeing this now. And by parameters, I mean just the ingredients are not quite strong, but they're strong enough for one or two spin ups, and that's what's happening right now. Um, but yeah, there are a couple areas that we are concerned about. Not only this area of rotation between Midland and Martinsville, but just to the south of Wilmington, that does include the National Weather Service office in Wilmington. They are under a tornado warning right now. And we also have the potential for some areas right along State Route 350 that could also be an area of that bears watching. So this thunderstorm is strong. And if we take a look at the reflectivity, so this is the really the rainfall rate. We have torrential rain, and we have this little notch right here. And anywhere along this leading line from here, again, there's a circulation here around State Route 350 and 68, but then this other one just south of State Route 28. So Martinsville to Wilmington, um, that would also be State Route 134. So State Route 134 starts here at 68 in Wilmington. You would drive past the National Weather Service office and then down into southern Clinton County. This is where the area of concern is right now. So this is going to be Highland County, and this is going to be Clinton County until 2:30 this morning, under the threat for tornadoes. So a serious situation here in Clinton County, where we had a very likely brief tornado just touched down not long ago. This would have touched down in relatively rural areas, but we know a lot of folks live in between these towns that tend to the farms in the area. So we are certainly concerned about them. Again, is this strong storm that is even producing 70-mile-per-hour straight line wind. So a tornado is not the only threat here. We also have the threat for some 70-mile-per-hour straight line wind all the way from pretty much all of Clinton County, Highland County, northern Brown County. And even if you're in Washington Courthouse, I'd be watching out. I do believe this is going to drop south of Washington Courthouse. This will not affect the Columbus area or the Cincinnati area. There are some storms that have pushed into Delaware and Marion, Morrow, and Crawford County, but they are not the storm of concern, which is this one, where we are seeing some particularly ominous radar signatures right here, just south of Wilmington through Martinsville. So if you're in Martinsville, it's there. That is where the area of concern is right now. So this is going to stretch all the way from again, Wilmington, all the way down through Martinsville, and even down to about Lynchburg. So folks in Lynchburg are probably hearing sirens. The city of Hillsborough, you are not entirely in the tornado warning. The north side of town is. However, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning, where that 70-mile-per-hour wind gust threat, certainly heavy rain and lightning, is on deck for you there. So again, the tornado warning runs until 2:30. Right now, the circulation seemed to have weakened a little bit. But as I put this on a loop, right here at about 1:39, we started to see some tightening rotation near State Route 3, State Route 22. Then it really tightened up around the county line at 146. The next radar scan showed a likely tornado just north of Blanchester. That would have been at 148. And then at 150 north of Blanchester. And now, as we look at the most recent scan, this is indicating that any rotation will be along State Route 134. So State Route 134 from Wilmington to Lynchburg, this is the area of concern right now. All right. Give me one sec here. I'm going to try to get Brant on here. All right. Give me one sec. All right, Brandon, if you could try to call again, that would be great. Um, Trying to get you on. All right, hold on one sec here as we try to expand our coverage. Hey, can you hear me? Oops. Hey, can you hear me? Good, good. All right, can you go ahead and talk one more time?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I think we've got you. I think we're good now.
Okay.
Yeah, this is quite the situation that we've got going on here tonight with these storms tracking through, and certainly what very much looks like and shows some strong evidence that we had a tornado on the ground at least for a bit.
Yeah, that was confirmed by radar. It was northwest of Blanchester, there in Warren County, where we did have that confirmed tornado, and it eventually moved into Clinton County there. And it you could see the debris spread out, so you could tell it was lifted, and we that signature has since dropped off. But when the tornado warning was issued, there was a very strong signature of a tornado on the ground, of debris being lofted in the air. That's that we call that the correlation coefficient. That shows us the debris tracker. And it shows us when stuff that's in the air that's not supposed to be in the air, and thus often is what is lifted by a tornado. So when we look for that, we did see that back in eastern Warren County that moved into Clinton County. So we did have a tornado of some sort. And Mike, we're seeing
Hmm.
several spots along this line where we could be seeing a another tornado drop at any moment. A good hook and inflow there just north of Lynchburg, south of Martinsville,
Hmm.
and several other lines, several other spots to the north of this of that one as well. So, if you're in this tornado warning, New Vienna, Lees Creek, areas north of Lynchburg and west of Leesburg, south of Wilmington, that's the area that we're talking about here. Seek shelter because this could drop at any second, Mike.
Absolutely. And not only that, but this storm does have the potential to produce 70-mile-per-hour straight line wind as well, in areas surrounding the little notches that we've just highlighted on radar. So what we're looking at right now is the reflectivity, or showing the intensity of the rainfall, and it is very intense. This is going to be a rain wrap tornado situation. Not only is this a rain wrap tornado situation, but it's also, of course, 2 in the morning. So this is not a scenario where finding or looking at the tornado is in play here. This is a serious situation, a nighttime tornado situation where things are a bit difficult because folks are sleeping. So if you know anybody in southern or eastern Clinton County right now, specifically anyone between Martinsville to Leesburg down to Lynchburg, give them a call real quick. New Vienna, a dangerous situation. This is mostly going north of Hillsborough, but if you're in Highland County, I would be on high alert right now, as the northern portion of the county is under a tornado warning. And while I don't see the strong signature that we saw earlier, we certainly see evidence of high straight line wind. And really, Brand, at any moment, these could turn into a quick spin up. That's the kind of environment we are in right now, overnight.
Yeah, and that's actually what we saw in southeastern Warren County there just a little bit ago, where we did see that tornado warning drop. The signature was actually on the radar. The debris, we saw the debris on the radar, and then the warning was issued. So that's how quickly these spin up. It's not anything that the National Weather Service was doing wrong. It's just it happens so fast and
Mhm.
unexpectedly in between radar scans that they're very quick to get those out when they see those signatures. So that's what we did have end up happening there in southeastern Warren County as it moved into Clinton County. We did have that quick spin up. It looked like it was on the ground for maybe 5 minutes. It obviously did some damage to something. We don't know what. It could be It could be a cornfield, it could be structures, it could be anything that the tornado lifted that debris up high enough for the radar to say, "Hey, this isn't supposed to be here. There's something here that you need to pay attention to." And thus, the tornado warning was issued shortly after it was issued. It went confirmed. So the National Weather Service agreeing with what the radar was showing there. So again, that spun up within two scans, and on a busy night like this, where we have so many products that the radar is trying to scan output in a short period of time, we could be probably 2 or 3 minutes, and at times during like the summer events where it's very busy, we can go as much as 4 or 5 minutes between scans. And a lot can happen in those 2 or 3 minutes, or those 4 or 5 minutes, whatever the case may be, Mike.
Hmm.
And it might be a situation where the radar we miss it entirely because it's in between radar scans, and there's no sign of the tornado when the new scan comes in. I do see that there is a very large severe thunderstorm warning that was issued that
Yes.
encompasses this tornado warning, and kind of gives an idea of what the National Weather Service is looking at moving forward now that those signatures are not intense. It is tagged tornado possible, Mike, and of to note, they have backed down the winds back down to 60 miles per hour instead of 70, and we have lost that considerable damage threat. But nonetheless, at any moment, this could turn into a much more serious and deadly situation, Mike.
Absolutely, and we are seeing the storm motion gaining some speeds that we did from the storms that we had about an hour ago when we were last on. These are moving east at 50 miles per hour, so they're moving very quickly, which means that these storms will do their damage very quickly and almost suddenly to some people. So, if you are anywhere in that new severe thunderstorm warning, which by the way does run until 3 o'clock, that's going to be for northern Brown, southwestern Fayette, Clinton, and Highland counties. So that's going to be pretty much all of Clinton and all of Highland County, including Hillsborough, until 3 o'clock this morning, where that straight line wind threat is also considerable. So yes, the tornado threat is the main concern right now, and that's going to be inside the red flashing box on your screen, um, where it does appear that there is potential for rotation. And if there's going to be any rotation, right now I'm seeing a couple potential spots. The first one is going to be right along State Route 73 near New Vienna. That is going to be a major area of concern. So that's going to be between Lynchburg and New Vienna, and then also just north of New Vienna. We also see the threat for some very strong straight line wind, but we could also see this kind of spin up into something as well. And we'll have to see how the next radar scan shows any updates with that. Thankfully, we now have radar data tonight. Our folks, the our partners at the National Weather Service did a great job getting the radar operational again, just in time for tonight, where we are seeing some of these um, very strong storms move right through our southwestern Ohio communities. And I'm even seeing an area near Sabina here along State Route 3 US 22 that also bears watching as well. This is in the severe thunderstorm warning. Pretty much anywhere in either alert could see some sort of severe weather, whether it be damaging straight line wind or maybe even some small hail. Hail's not the main threat today, but it's straight line wind and this tornado threat, which can be anywhere in eastern Clinton County and northern Highland County at this time. The tornado warning running until 2:30, and the severe thunderstorm warning running until 3 o'clock. And like Brant said, the severe thunderstorm warning is tagged tornado possible just because one, this specific storm, we're nearly fairly certain that a tornado was on the ground, or maybe even in progress now, depending on um, really where along this line we could possibly see it. I mean, the area of rotations aren't the areas of potential rotation are not as strong as they were about 20 minutes ago, but we're in that kind of night where they can just spin up. We see several areas of circulation along this line, including the threat for some straight line wind damage. So anywhere along State Route 62 from Washington Courthouse down to Hillsborough, you need to be in your safe spot and treat it like a tornado situation, because we have a couple spots, 2 to 3 spots, where I see some potential spinning there on our velocity data. And the nice thing about this part of the state is we have very good radar coverage thanks to the Weather Service and Wilmington office being right there. So we're getting a good look at this, and we're able to really see how dangerous this situation is. Um, and
And Mike,
again, yeah, go ahead.
the past couple scans, I have if you notice, I don't have your stream up, so I don't know what we're looking at here on your end. But if you turn over to the velocity, I mean, you can really see the wind start to pick up as this gets a little distance away from the radar here. Not very far in terms of the area that the radar can cover. So we're still fairly close, but just south of Lee's Creek, southwest of Memphis, there is a pretty decent pocket of some damaging wind right there, upwards of 70 miles per hour. So not only are we seeing the tornado threat, but as the previous warning said, 70-mile per hour gusts. It looks like we might be kind of re-intensifying and heading back up toward that 70-mile per hour threshold right there north of New Vienna,
Hmm.
getting ready to move into southern Fayette County and northern Highland County over the next few minutes. So this is quickly approaching the edge of the tornado warning box, and we will very, very quickly likely see what the National Weather Service elects to do, because this is racing off to the east pretty fast here, and it will be likely outside of the warning before it's allowed to expire. So we could see that canceled early, which that is good news. But Mike, it seems to be based on the velocity here, it seems that the wind threat might be ramping up once again.
Absolutely, yeah. I think this storm essentially is going to become outflow dominant, and what that means is instead of a rotating updraft, which means rotation and air moving upward, which is what causes tornadoes, the storm is the storm threat is coming from the opposite physical process. You're seeing a downdraft winds instead causing some of the straight line wind potential. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm seeing too, just north of New Vienna and Leesburg, where we see some very strong wind in excess of 60, maybe up to 70 miles per hour. So I do think that severe thunderstorm warning threat is what this is transitioning into. But we still do have a couple kinks in the line, meaning that little wave patterns that we see here, and potentially an area of weak rotation south of New Vienna. So the damaging wind threat is north of New Vienna, and any rotation rather weak might be south of that. And it's probably very gusty in Lynchburg as well right now. Leesburg, you're about to get hit with the gusty wind. Sabina and Washington Courthouse. Washington Courthouse probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And really just to kind of show folks the scope of what we're seeing, this is the only portion of the state right now that we're concerned about severe weather. We do have some storms, rather weak, but still producing some lightning from Delaware up to Bucyrus. And I do anticipate some weakening as we move east into a less favorable environment for thunderstorms. But these have held together quite impressively across southwestern Ohio. So if you're elsewhere, not in southwestern Ohio, so maybe you're in southeastern Ohio or certainly northern Ohio, I don't believe your severe weather threat is nearly as high. I do think, yes, for the next 45 minutes or so, we certainly have a threat for damaging wind and possibly even a spin up tornado, but we will see the threat diminishing ever so slightly overnight. So we're going to keep an eye on it, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys the scope of what's going on right now. These storms are moving east at 50 miles per hour. And right now, the main threat is damaging wind up to 60 to 70 miles per hour, maybe some small hail. And because they've had a history of producing a tornado, we are fairly certain of that back here along the Warren and Clinton County line, right around 145. Um, because of that history, we can't rule out some spin ups along this straight line wind threat. But Brand, it does look like it is transitioning into a straight line wind threat, and it does look like the National Weather Service agrees, and they have canceled that tornado warning. And now we are just still under a severe thunderstorm warning for these damaging winds until 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I figured that was coming because with the speed that the storm was moving off to the east here, it was going to quickly be out of that tornado warning box before it was allowed to expire on time. So it's great news. We are down to a severe thunderstorm warning, but anywhere along that severe thunderstorm warning box has the potential, maybe even outside of the box, just a little bit here, seeing some spots of some broad rotation north of this severe thunderstorm warning as well. So, continuing to watch this is great news that the tornado warning has been canceled. We are left with the severe thunderstorm warning, but don't let your guard down because things can quickly change. Just like we saw about 40 minutes ago when we had that first tornado warning issued for Clinton County for the tornado that touched down. Waiting for the National Weather Service. They'll obviously send a survey crew out. Probably it's very close to the office, so we might get information even as soon as tomorrow afternoon. But waiting for the exact location for them before I specify anything specific. But there was a very concerning radar signature in southeastern Warren County
Hmm.
into Clinton County. So uh, where it seems to be as we've been alluding to over the past 10 minutes or so here, it seems that we are transitioning more into a straight line wind threat. You can see that on the velocity. You can see the pockets, depending on what color table you're looking at. On my screen, it's orange and kind of a brown color. That's a little bit stronger than say the reds or the pinks, whatever color table you're using. So again, Mike, things could quickly change very quickly.
Hmm.
So definitely keep your guard up. But as of right now, we're not seeing anything too concerning, and thus the tornado warning has been canceled. Mike.
Yeah, and just because we want to show you how a severe thunderstorm warning still is a serious situation, let's go to those couple areas of broad rotation that you mentioned. The first one is here in Fayette County. This is actually not under a severe thunderstorm warning, but it's close. We can see this broad rotation near Jeffersonville and Octa. So if you're familiar with the area, it's where the outlet malls are, along I-71 and US 35. So if you're in that area near the outlet mall, I do see some broad rotation that does bear watching. So if you're in Bloomingburg or Mount Sterling, Washington Courthouse, keep an eye on that, and we will be keeping an eye on for you as well. No warning right now, but we are watching it. Also, south of Lynchburg, there have been a couple areas along the leading edge of the line here that have tried to spin something up. So if I move the radar back a little bit, I can try to move it back a frame. It's too many frames. Let's move it back one frame. And my animation isn't working the way I want it to, but that's fine. Sometimes, okay, there we go. So we along that radar loop we just did, I've seen a couple areas where we could have seen something briefly spin up, and this was just a 2:15, so like 7 or 8 minutes ago. So we're definitely not out of the threat for any tornadic spin ups, but it's diminishing a little. But that straight line wind threat, oof, it's it's definitely very, very important to be in a safe spot. We're looking at 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts along US 62, which will certainly cause damage. We also could have some small hail, heavy rain, and frequent lightning. The heavy rain is no joke too. I mean, we have flash flood warnings all the way back from the Dayton metro back into Indiana. So we're talking Richmond, Indiana, all the way through Eaton and Camden, southern Montgomery, northern Butler, northern Warren County. So those are places like Springboro, Franklin, Miamisburg, Germantown, even Middletown, under a flash flood warning from all of these heavy thunderstorms moving through that have brought so much heavy rain. So that's a threat too. The ground is very dry, so it's not absorbing the moisture very quickly, contributing to the flash flooding threat. So there's lots of different storm threats, unfortunately, that we have to track tonight. The first most concerning one, the tornado threat that we've been looking at for the past half hour or so. And now we still have that straight line wind threat with this severe thunderstorm warning that is still going to be in effect until 3 o'clock this morning. Let's see if we can find some spots where that threat is more pronounced. So Hillsborough, Leesburg, Washington Courthouse, still some broad rotation near the outlet malls. That has not tightened up in the past few radar scans, so that's good news. But again, with the way the night has gone, we have to watch that very quickly, or very closely, I should say, quickly and closely. Um, but yeah, Greenfield, State Route 753, State Route 138, and then US 62 are all roads. Even US 50 between Hillsborough and the Ross County line, I'd be looking out for any potential straight line wind damage. This is a large swath of southwestern Ohio, Fayette, Clinton, and Highland counties. As we push toward that, really these middle of the night hours, it goes to show how important it is to have a way to wake up when some of these um, severe weather threats do move through at an inconvenient time. So right now, transitioning into straight line wind, but Brant looks like we could still have those couple areas of circulation to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be keeping a close eye on it here over the next couple hours as this continues to push off to the east into parts of, say, Pike, Ross, Pickaway, and then ultimately into Hocking, down into Jackson, Vinton, and those areas. So we're definitely going to be watching this very closely. We are seeing some power outages come in here from one of our sources that we have. Some power outages coming in for Warren County. Only 5% of the uh, county is without power, but I think that speaks to where the uh, heaviest pockets of strong wind kind of move through. You can have a very small area, a very strong wind, and a mile away, you could barely have any.
Hmm.
That's the type of system that we're or the storm cluster that is currently moving through the southwestern and into the south central part of Ohio. So as this continues to move off to the east, don't let your guard down. Stay alert if you uh, likely if the storm is barreling through where you are. I know many people are asleep at this hour, likely being startled awake or awoken by the uh, strong winds, the power outages, and we have a pretty good amount of lightning out of this too, Mike. So,
Yeah.
um, it's an unfortunate way to wake up at the end of the night, especially when you have to work the next day. But the good news is, once we get this through, it looks a little bit calmer off to the west of this main cluster that's currently warned. Just some pockets there in Warren, Hamilton, and areas just north of Cincinnati. So we have some stormy activity back in Indiana, but no warnings on that right now. Just some heavy rain, some lightning on those as well. So, Mike, we're going to be watching this over the next couple hours here, and we'll come back on if needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the general trend is weaker. I know we've had a lot of questions for specific locations, so I just want to give you a whole larger synopsis of what's going on. We do have some storms up in Crawford, Richland, and Morrow County. I'm not concerned about those for severe weather. Maybe some rumbles of thunder and some lightning. Although, yes, lightning is dangerous if you are inside and not actively taking a shower. You should generally be okay. I mean, we used to tell people not to be on the phone when during a lightning storm, but with everyone with cell phones these days, that advice is almost useless. But what is good is keeping folks away from windows and certainly not maybe deciding to take a bath or a shower at this hour. I mean, certainly some folks do have to get up for work and get to work early or come home from work overnight. That's just the way it is. But for those of you who are up, we're glad you're with us because we are tracking some strong storms. But yeah, the larger metros like Cincinnati and Columbus, I'm not worried about the larger metros. Columbus, you might see some lightning to your south. We already had a few thunderstorms roll through here in the last hour. Just some rumbles, really, some heavy rain. But the main wind threat, the main damage threat, stretches from Washington Courthouse to south of Hillsborough into northern Brown County. So it's a good swath of area, 40 to 50 miles, and many towns and rural areas in between that we're worried about. But the good news is, though, it does show signs of weakening. I think the rotation potential is diminishing, and even the straight line wind potential is diminishing. But it's still very gusty. We still do have that threat, but the trend is looking good, which is promising. But I still want folks in this severe thunderstorm warning again. Washington Courthouse, um, and pretty much all of Highland County to be really mindful of these strong winds that will be pushing through. Lots of lightning, lots of rain, and that is going to be where we're concerned about. Now it is moving quickly. It's moving east at about 50 miles per hour, so it's going to come and go quick, which might catch some folks. If you hear the wind howl, it'll be gone, but it doesn't take long to do some damage. And we're going to have to kind of see how the storm behaves as it moves moves to the east rather, into Ross and Pike County. We'll see if that severe weather continues or if it kind of weakens and dies off a little bit. We're hoping for weakening, but we can't guarantee that, as these storms have been impressive holding together overnight. And it's while the tornado threat is not very widespread like we've seen earlier this year, it just goes to show one or two spots. That's all it takes to get some small, very localized damage, and that matters to the folks who live there at the time. So that's why we're really watching it here. But I still like the weakening trend. Not out of the woods yet. No areas of rotation right now that I'm too concerned about. Immediately, still got to watch, but no immediate apparent rotation. But it's very gusty in Hillsborough right now. Um,
And there
Leesburg,
is
it's
a
gusty. Whew, it's windy
and
out there.
Oh, there is a lot of lightning with this storm in
Hmm.
Fayette County. This kind of cluster that's sitting right over north west of Washington Courthouse there, Jeffersonville, Bloomingburg, kind of right where you were talking about that very broad rotation there. That's
Hmm.
actually northeast of Jeffersonville now, but an immense amount of lightning in that area, probably to the point where it's almost constant in northern Fayette County. So likely a very noisy sleep if you're able to sleep through it at all. But definitely weakening, Mike. That's the good news, as you've been alluding to over the past couple of minutes here. Every scan that comes in looks more promising toward uh, kind of a weaker storm cluster here. And they just updated the severe thunderstorm warning, and they did drop that tornado possible tag. So
Good.
we do not have that. We are just down to, and my radar just crashed here. There we go. A regular severe thunderstorm warning here. Winds up to 60 miles per hour, and three quarters of an inch sized hail is possible in spots. I think uh, we are kind of less on the threat on the hail side. More of a straight line and gusty wind damage. Clinton County, you have been fully taken out of the warning. It is just for Highland and Fayette. Let me make sure of yes, Highland and Fayette counties for another 28 minutes or so. So, Mike, we are on the right path here with the storm cell, but definitely keep your guard up still because we could see very quickly things change as they did a little while ago.
For sure. And speaking of that area near Jeffersonville with all the lightning and torrential rain, I did pull up the ODOT cameras at the 71, 435, and US 35 interchange. So that's going to be right near those outlet malls. I mean, it absolutely looks like just pouring rain. Some very impressive rainfall rates. There are some cars and trucks still out on the road. I know it is overnight, so generally the road isn't as busy, but boy, it's going to be tricky out there on I-71 right now. And you can just see what this looks like and see what we're talking about on the ODOT cameras there. So I just wanted to show you that. That again is right at 71 and 35 at the outlet malls. We can also take a look at this camera. This is 35 at 62. So 35 at 62 is south of Washington Courthouse. So some very torrential rain and hydroplaning threat for drivers out there as well. So watch out for that. Frequent lightning. And there's really no reason to go out and look because this is just a one of those situations where it's raining. You can't see much more than lightning and rain out of this
Oh, it's
storm.
nighttime. It's
Yeah.
nighttime. You're not going to see much at all out there. So definitely stay indoors. I know if you're like us, you love watching storms and you love experiencing storms, but especially at night. It's just a good rule of thumb to just kind of stay indoors, hunker down. Hopefully you keep power. We don't like anybody. Nobody likes losing power. So we hope we can get these storms through without any more power outages. Continuing to watch the power outage numbers as the updates come in. We're not seeing too much in the areas that these storms are moving through right now. So that is another point to what me and Mike have been talking about. The storm seems to the storm cluster seems to be on the weakening trend. We've lost basically at this point fully the tornado threat, um, and we're kind of seeing that weakening as we're not seeing those Tornado power threat. outage numbers come in Um, as high as they were back in
Hmm.
Warren and Clinton counties there. So good news, we're on the right track here. Just the next couple of scans could be very telltelling. And even if you look at the reflectivity, Mike, I mean, we can kind of see this whole storm cluster is kind of breaking up. You can kind of see a break there from the Washington courthouse area, kind of down towards Hillsborough. So we're seeing kind of everything break up and weaken. So we're on the right track here, and seems to be doing real good, Mike.
Yeah, these storms are running into more stable air, and we like stability. Stability keeps our atmosphere from producing more storms. So that is good news, and certainly for those folks living in Pike and Ross County who would be next in line, and even Adams County too. I'm not seeing any strengthening. In fact, we are seeing some of that precipitation breaking up. Still a lot of lightning, still a lot of rain, and even some gusty wind threat here um, right now. I mean, yeah, that severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect until 3 o'clock, and we haven't gotten word yet from the Weather Service whether or not they're going to issue a statement on the progression of the storm. I'm sure they will here soon. Whether or not they will elect to issue another warning here, but yeah, I think another thing that Brant said that's very important to know is that the tornado threat is pretty much over at this point. Um, Really, it's just a
But
couple areas.
sorry, but keep in mind we do have that tornado watch that remains in effect for this area. So we still have that potential, but we're on the right track.
Yeah.
A weakening trend.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's just been the way these storms have behaved. We've had just enough spin in the atmosphere for these things to fire up and sustain themselves across Southwest Ohio. Going back to that area north of in northern Fayette County, we still do have that broad rotation right along I-71 at the Madison and Fayette County line. It's broad, it's not very strong, and let's hope it stays that way. Let's hope it doesn't turn into a situation where we'll have to be on more high alert. So really that's not far from the South Columbus area, so
Hey,
Harrisburg and Lockport and places like that. But we really do have to watch for it. Go ahead.
so I'm actually not seeing. Actually, in the warning text, it says there's a tornado watch that remains in effect for the Warren area, but I'm not actually seeing that from the SPC site. Was there a new warning issued there on your
Um,
screen, or is that a special weather statement that's on your?
that's a special
Uh,
weather statement,
okay.
so that's
Well,
good news.
they did issue a mesoscale discussion for this area just a few minutes ago here. They said a brief tornado and localized damaging wind threat may persist for another hour or two, but should quickly diminish as the storm moves off to the east. And that's basically for the southern, south central Ohio there, Ross County, Pike County, Jackson, Scioto, Pickaway, Hocking, kind of in that area right there. So speaking of this storm cluster, Uh, Over the next couple hours, they see a brief tornado and localized damaging wind threat may persist, but is on the weakening trend. So,
Hmm.
a chance of a watch being issued is only 5%. So, likely not going to see another watch issued here. But I do want to read the discussion here. A cluster intensified last hour of a southwest Ohio with at least one TDS, that's a tornado debris signature, noted just southwest of the ILN radar into Clinton County. A surge in the IR cloud top cooling occurred just before the TDS and has since warmed, but transient mesovortices remain possible along the leading edge of the gust front. So, Mike, you can uh,
Hmm.
uh, uh, kind of dig deeper into that and kind of tell us what we're looking at here. But the even the SPC and the National Weather Service seem to agree with us that we are definitely on the weakening trend, and the tornado threat has significantly diminished from where it was a little while ago.
Yeah, basically what they're saying in the discussion is kind of what we've briefly mentioned throughout this stream is that essentially the storms are running into more stable air, less instability, less fuel, and that's why we're starting to see them get choked off a little bit from their fuel source. So great news: there is no tornado watch or warning in effect. No tornado products in effect. They must have had that must be a computer error or something like that on their end. Um, but
Yeah, I don't. It does say tornado watch, but obviously we do not have the tornado watch, so
right.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, yeah. It was basically it was an internal discussion from between the National Weather Service and their partners, folks like us. There, so no tornado alerts, but we still do have the severe thunderstorm warning until 3 a.m. and a special weather statement that now extends into Ross, Pike, and Adams, and even in far eastern Brown County. This statement theoretically would be in effect until the same time, 3 o'clock in the morning. So we're hoping that this trends weaker, but even with the wind threat diminishing, still a 40-mile-per-hour gust is significant, could bring some branches and maybe even some trees down. So we have to be mindful of that. So if you're anywhere in Ross, Pike, or Adams County, keep that in mind. The severe weather threat is diminishing, but you're going to hear some thunder, see some lightning, and possibly hear that wind howling out there. Um, but one area of focus where it still might be quite breezy is between Hillsborough and Bainbridge along US 50. There's some radar signatures there that are showing some gusty wind, but I think we just got a new scan in that shows that seems to be improving as well. So breezy out there, lots of lightning, lots of rain, but the tornado threat is diminishing and the severe wind threat is diminishing as well. Also, some good news we just got in from the Weather Service. Those flash flood warnings that were in effect for Richmond, Indiana, Preble County, stretching into southern Montgomery County, Ohio, have now been canceled. So they've been canceled a little bit early. Those were scheduled to um, go off at 3, and they decided to end it early. So we'll see if they do that with the severe thunderstorm warning, too. But for now, we're kind of committed to watching what happens until 3, and we'll go from there and assess the situation. But like our partners at the Weather Service and Storm Prediction Center have indicated, it does seem to be that these are running into some drier and less stable air. So, good news for the rest of us. If you're in northern Ohio, I'm not concerned about severe weather. If you're in Columbus, I'm not concerned. Even if you're in this area near Mansfield that has a little thunderstorm, not concerned about severe weather. Really, it's just this area that's moving through Highland County and even northern Fayette County right now that we're concerned about. Still, for the threat for some gusty wind, and hopefully that will kind of start to diminish once we head into the 3 o'clock hour. So Brant, that's kind of I think where we're at right now. Just kind of watching to see if the Weather Service has any updates for us, and if we see any very isolated areas of damaging wind popping up, um, and all that lightning. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder. This is going to be loud. It's going to be hard for folks to sleep. I know probably some upset dogs too.
Well,
Um,
a
yeah,
lot of times, I think we kind of discredit the sheer power that lightning has. Um, on the threat for life. It is definitely a life threatening situation just with the lightning. So you definitely don't want to be outside, especially at night when you can't see. But that's why, as a kid or even as an adult, they say if you're in a swimming pool and you hear lightning or see lightning, you have to get out because it's very dangerous. So even with the lightning, that this is you don't want to be outside in this. But Mike, they do note what you were basically just suggesting there. It says the weaker flow with minimum change, suggesting long term organization potential will be limited. So basically,
Hmm.
what they're saying over the next couple hours, this trend is going to continue where this storm cluster kind of weakens into more of just a heavy rain threat, really, and some localized flooding. But uh, we're definitely been seeing this over the past what have we been live for about an hour now. Definitely a continuing weakening trend, and the Storm Prediction Center agrees that over the next couple, or suggests over the next couple hours, this is going to weaken even more. So
Yeah.
we're definitely heading in the right direction.
Yeah, we love to see it. It's been an active night, perhaps a bit more active than originally forecast. Some of these areas just in about a 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather, but that's why those 1 out of 5 risk days exist, because it's still a threat. It's just over
The severe
either.
thunderstorm warning has been canceled,
All right, all right. Hey, we
so
love to
we
see
are
it.
warning free. Yep,
Warning free. All right. Well, then, I if you feel like maybe we could just kind of do a recap and a check really quick, and then maybe pop off
absolutely.
air here and regroup and see how things go. Um, as much as we love helping out, we also, you know, if we're not on, that's usually a good sign that storms are not as strong as they could be. So we still have that special weather statement for Ross, Pike, and Adams County until 3 o'clock. Still some gusty wind with this storm, but the fact that they canceled it early really shows how confident they are that the wind has dropped below severe limits. Still up to 40 miles per hour, still something to be mindful of. Lots of lightning, lots of rain, but the overall severe weather threat is diminishing as well. So, Southwest Ohio, you're still in for a noisy night with lightning. But overall, in our coverage area, no severe warnings, no tornado warnings, no watches of any sort, just some gusty thunderstorms moving across south central Ohio through the US 62 corridor. It'll eventually move into the US 23 corridor, but hopefully continuing that weakening trend. And I think that's where we're at right now.
Yep, Mike. I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think I just got home from work, so
Yeah,
I am very tired, and I'm very glad to see the weakening trend continue here.
yeah,
Uh, Not just for me, but for everybody involved, because we never want to see people affected by severe weather. So yeah, just the weakening. We're on the right path here. More of just a heavy rain and lightning threat now. Some gusty pockets of wind there. Probably still likely there in Highland County, up into Fayette County, but below severe criteria. Thus, the severe thunderstorm warning was canceled. So, Mike, I think with that, I think we can go ahead and wrap it up here.
I think so. Well, we'll keep an eye on things. If severe weather, I'm going to try to stay up a little bit longer myself. The word is try. I'm gonna keep an eye on things, and if things do get nasty, I'll pop back on here for some live coverage. But hopefully that won't be needed. And just remember, the next couple of days we still have the threat for storms popping up, so we'll have to keep an. It's not a widespread major threat for severe weather over the next couple of days, but we could have a couple strong storms through the middle of the week where it's getting hot again just as we wrap up July. It's as we head into August, we start to think back to school, and for some folks even fall. Not a chance. It's still summer and still will be for quite some
Pumpkin
time.
spice. I saw pumpkin spice in stores earlier.
Yep.
this weekend. So yeah, it's quickly approaching. But we are still in summer. We're still on an active weather pattern
Hmm.
over the next couple of days. So
Yep.
definitely keep your eye to the sky.
Still summer until September 20th, I believe. So we
Yep.
got some time left. So all right, well, yeah. For myself, Mike Joyce, and Brant Warren, thank you for joining me and helping out. I appreciate it. And we're gonna pop off here, but we'll let you know if we have any more issues tonight. That said, get some sleep, stay safe, and we'll keep an eye on things for you. Good night.